Well, everybody, let's rock. Okay, episode 15 of Twin Peaks. I thought was very good. I did have a minor issue here and there, but I thought it was good. It was not, I think, a bad episode. In fact, there were a lot of fascinating things that occurred in tonight's episode. So let's get to it. Again, my damn fine coffee, my donut, my absurdly large. It's so big, I'm actually going to take a bite of it right now. Very moist. In fact, I wish I had a napkin, but I don't. I wish I would have thought of that ahead of time. Oh well. So, episode 15 starts out with both Ed and Nadine. Actually, first Nadine with her golden shovel. Got a golden shovel in her hand that she ordered from Dr. Amp for $30. Finally arrived. She has it, which is probably a quick trip because Dr. Amp is also in Twin Peaks. So I'm guessing it only took a few days for her to get it. Anyway, she's marching with it, and I thought she was going to kill somebody. Because what you have to remember is Nadine has superhuman strength due to adrenaline when she lost her eye when she was younger. Anyway, she goes with her shovel and she approaches Big Ed Hurley and releases him. Nadine releases Big Ed, and it was really a neat scene. This season, I think, has been all about giving us these actors that weren't main characters, right? But they were interesting, and letting them have these great character moments. Bobby Briggs's mother, Mrs. Briggs, had an excellent character moment talking about a chair that her husband used to sit in. And Sarah Palmer has already had some great moments, although I think she's going to be very important, actually. And here we got Nadine with a great moment. It's just been really cool that way, taking these smaller characters and giving them these awesome character moments. Dana Ashbrook had a great moment at the diner where he's talking to his daughter as well as Shelley. That was really good. You're 2 episodes behind. Darklinks, it's good to see you. Darklinks to Zelda's. And let's see here. Well, let's take a sip of coffee, actually, real quick. So, she releases him, knowing that Big Ed has been in love with her. I'm sorry. Big Ed has been in love with Norma Jennings for years, a great many years, even when they were back in high school. And she felt that, you know, she's been selfish and everything, and she said to Big Ed, "You go be with Norma." So it's this awesome scene where Big Ed goes to the Double R diner and talks to Norma, and actually goes so far as to say, "Marry me," which I thought was awesome. And I don't know if we'll be able to see the marriage. I mean, there's only 3 more hours of TV or episodes, so I kind of doubt that. But I thought that was really cool, and it was a great character moment. And basically Norma kind of breaks it off with her current boyfriend, who's also her business partner, and that was nice and quick. I was worried it would be dragged out into some ridiculousness, and she's going to say no again to Big Ed, which would have sucked and been awful, especially because Big Ed has only been in now 1 or 2 episodes total of this 18-episode series. So we had that happen. And then, probably one of the main moments of the episode, we had above the convenience store. We found out exactly what that means. Oh, that's cool. You're turning 25? That's awesome. Twin Peaks came back. The idea storyline was 25 years later, so that's pretty funny. Well, happy birthday, Darklinks. So, dark highway, car headlights, driving. I sound like I'm talking about the actual script that the show was written from. Headlights go off, car stops, Doppelkoop gets out of the car, and we see the convenience store that was in episode 8. The same damn convenience store. Exactly. And at the side of the convenience store is a staircase. And Once Doppelkoop gets there, he sees that there's a woodsman. But this woodsman is phased into our reality. He's not out of phase. So then the woodsman and Doppelkoop go up the staircase at the side of the convenience store, going to the above the convenience store. As they do that, they phase out of reality, and they're just gone. Then they end up, awesomely enough, in the portrait that Laura Palmer put on her wall in Twin Peaks Fire Walk with Me. The portrait given to her by the grandson and the grandmother, either Tremond or Chalfont. That hasn't been exactly explained yet, but hopefully we'll get some idea what was going on with that. So to continue walking, and there's a woodsman sitting in a corner, very similar to what we saw in Twin Peaks Fire Walk with Me, in the room with the little man from Another Place and Bob. And there's another woodsman. There was a snowman. We got to see him briefly too, which was awesome. I wasn't expecting to ever see the snowman again, although I don't think that's his actual name. I think it's Jumping Man is the term they use on the script. But he has this weird, like, elongated nose that's pointed, like not human pointed, like this outward. And it looked like he had like a face covered in snow, very not human looking. So Jumping Man showed up again, and Doppelkoop, not talking backwards now, talking normally like we do, is speaking to the woodsman and says, "I'm here to see Philip Jeffries." And the woodsman goes and moves his arm, and there's like flashes of light and static. And then he also has this stick that he goes and picks up and then puts down on the ground like this. And then it was like another woodsman shows up. This is really confusing, I know. And leads Doppelkoop into a darkened hallway. And we can see a staircase as we get closer and closer. This is the staircase that Gordon Cole saw in, 3 or 4 episodes back. The staircase with the men with beards, dirty men with beards, that staircase that they were on. It's the same staircase. So Doppelkoop goes up the staircase and opens the door, and he's now in the courtyard of a cheap motel. I love explaining this because it's so insane. Like, I mean, some people might hear this and they're like, "What in the hell do you mean?" He goes through the courtyard of a cheap hotel, and he's walking to one of the doors of a hotel, and he just stands there. And he realizes that for some reason he cannot get in. He doesn't even make an attempt. He just stands outside the door. Then this woman comes, like kind of shrouded in darkness, and she's like, "I can open the door for you." And she speaks backwards, or the way that people speak usually in the Black Lodge. So that was interesting. Doppelkoop speaks normally, she speaks backwards. So she goes and just opens the door and just stands to the side. Doppelkoop enters the room, and there's flashing lights. It's this dingy motel room, cheap motel room. And he turns, and he sees this weird, somewhat, what shape would you say? It's not rounded. Almost like this weird, like, dome thing. And something coming out of it emitting smoke. Similar to the domes we saw in what could be the White Lodge. And he starts calling out and asking to speak with Philip Jeffries. And we hear Philip's voice. Unfortunately, it's not David Bowie. Everyone was hoping, against hope, David Bowie would reprise the role he did in Twin Peaks Fire Walk with Me. But due, unfortunately, to him being as sick as he was, it just, I guess, was not possible. So it's another actor doing a voice that's similar to the southern accent that Philip Jeffries had. And we find out that Philip Jeffries is not the person that called Doppelkoop in the end of the second episode, I believe it was. It might have been first, but I believe it was the second episode. That's very fascinating. Because what we have to remember is that person that said they were Philip Jeffries also said, I will be with Bob again. And Philip, I don't think, wanted to be with Bob. I don't think Philip was evil. I think he just ended up in the wrong place at the wrong time, similar to what happened with Agent Chet Desmond in Fire Walk with Me. So he's talking to him and getting this information, and then he mentions Judy. Well, now, we ain't going to talk about Judy. In fact, we ain't going to talk about Judy at all. We're going to keep her out of it. That's mentioned in Fire Walk with Me when Philip Jeffries shows up in the FBI office in Philadelphia. And people thought that Judy might be the little monkey that's shown at the end of Fire Walk with Me, very briefly. And what we saw also in Fire Walk with Me is the young boy, known as the magician, has a mask on. And when he takes the white mask off, he is a monkey. And it sounds like the monkey says the word Judy. Now, the reason it seems like this is a possibility is Nido, who is the woman that is in the Twin Peaks prison that was found last week in the clearing after some insane supernatural events occurred with Andy. She's making sounds that resemble a monkey. So there could be a connection there. Not guaranteeing that's Judy. As far as we know, her name's Nido. So, not sure there. But we find out, though, that Doppelkoop has met Judy. Doppelkoop knows who Judy is. So that's pretty interesting. So, give me 1 second here. I just want to look at the notes again. Okay, so with this conversation being over, Doppelkoop leaves, and they cut to him descending the staircase from the convenience store, and he does that, and then as he does that, out of nowhere comes Richard Horn. And Richard brings up the fact that his mother, Audrey Horn, very specifically stated, so it's not at all that he's the son of Johnny Horn, which is what some people were thinking initially. I think it's been laid to rest, though, that it is Audrey's son. I'm trying to remember now, to be honest with you. Anyway, mentions that Audrey has a picture of him. Okay? And that he recognized him and knows he's FBI. So initially he pulls a gun on him. And Doppelkoop basically beats the crap out of him. But not fatally. Just hurts him a bit and disarms him. And says, come with me and we'll talk on the way. So they get into Doppelkoop's vehicle and they drive away. So the speculation is that when Audrey Horn was in a coma, as dark as this is, that Doppelkoop possibly raped her to have a son. Now, maybe it's time passed and she was out of the coma. I don't know. But Doppelkoop is very, very evil. Like, might be more evil than Bob. It's hard to say. Like, there's a point where I thought that Bob was actually a prisoner inside Doppelkoop. As weird as that seems. When he looks in the mirror in episode, I believe it is 5, and we see Doppelkoop, he says, good, you're in there. You're still in there. And Bob didn't look cheerful. Like, sometimes when Bob does a lot of evil things, like when the doppelganger and Bob were laughing in the Black Lodge in the Twin Peaks original finale, he seemed in a different state of mind, we'll say. So I thought that was pretty interesting. Then, even more interesting than that, an apple crisp. That's cool. Cake is delicious. I just got donut. Feel like Agent Truman, where he eats all this big mound of donut and Cooper's telling him all this stuff, has to use the bathroom in the original series. and just sort of like swallows down the donut, just kind of nodding because he can't really talk because his mouth is full of donut. So then, what was interesting, I apologize, we'll come back to that. Flashing lights, okay, and smoke. The convenience store disappears and leaves nothing but the woods. Just trees. So the actual place is not a normal place. It's not like a normal convenience store you would just go to. It was there like a short period of time, and it might be able to move through time and space. It's hard to say. But I mean, as a Twin Peaks fan, it's awesome that we finally know what it means when they said we live above a convenience store. Because there is the courtyard with the cheap motel with all the separate rooms. So they literally live above the convenience store. Like they live in the different areas there. Stone, thank you very much for the auto host. We're actually doing a Twin Peaks talk show, so I hope people don't completely hate it, but thank you. Welcome, everybody. Okay, so then that's gone, just disappears. Then we cut to Stephen, Audrey's daughter's boyfriend, and Gersten Hayward. You'll remember Gersten Hayward hiding out with Stephen in the hotel, or not hotel, I guess it was an apartment complex, worrying about, the crazed, crazed wife of Stephen showing up with a gun. Also, you'll know Gersten Hayward as playing the piano in the original Twin Peaks. She is Donna Hayward's sister. Donna has two sisters, Harriet and Gersten. We've not seen Harriet, I don't think, yet. I can't guarantee that. She might have been in a background scene or something, but I don't think we've seen Harriet yet. Okay, and he's talking all crazy and weird, and he wants Gersten to put a bullet in his head. And this guy with a dog shows up, and it seems that what happens is as soon as this guy shows up for whatever reason, Stephen goes and kills himself, shoots himself. And this person with the dog runs to Carl Rod at the Fat Trout Trailer Park and says, something. We can't hear what he said or anything like that. It's all the way in the background, and we're in the foreground. So we can only assume that he's like, this person just killed themselves. Now, it could have to do with that insane drug, the designer drug. That's been very popular in Twin Peaks. The god of sweets. Let's see here. Oh, I thought this was hilarious. So, the Roadhouse has had synth pop, Roy Orbison inflected music, and now finally a song that would be appropriate to play in the Roadhouse, Sharp Dressed Man by ZZ Top. This is, I feel, the first truly appropriate song we have heard in the Roadhouse since the very beginning of Twin Peaks. As much as I love and adore Julie Cruz, it's hard to believe that Julie Cruz music or performance would occur at a biker bar, which is what the place is. It's pretty much a biker bar. So it was really cool hearing Sharp Dressed Man. ZZ Top wasn't there performing. It was more like requesting a song or something. 1 second here. And we come back to the British Hulk again, which is what I call Jack Wardle's character, who's also James Hurley's friend, who he works with at the Great Northern. We found out last week about his insane glove that has superhuman ability to it, and these two guys cause issues for James because James just says hi to this nice, pretty girl who we saw, I believe, at the end of the second episode, who's a friend of Audrey's. I don't know her name. I forget. I apologize. They did say it, but I can't remember it, and I'm sorry. I have notes, but I don't go nuts. I have like single sentences and certain specific words, so I'm not just staring at a piece of paper the entire time. I actually look at you guys in the camera. And I see everything. No, I don't. Just a regular camera. It's not a magic Twin Peaks camera. Well, anyway, her boyfriend and this other guy take umbrage that James just says hi to her. And they start attacking James and beating him up. British Hulk punches them each, once in the face. It makes a fucking shotgun sound when he punches somebody. It's fantastic. He just single punch to the face. And then one of them actually started foaming at the mouth. It seems like he caused a cerebral hemorrhage with each punch, which is nuts. So it's like, okay, they wanted to show us what he's capable of, and it's pretty insane. And no, I'm still here. I hope I'm still here. I think I am. I was scared for a second then. Let me explain. If you're watching on YouTube, everyone thought I just went off the air. Okay. Then we cut to Chantel and her brother Hutch. And Chantel goes and kills the mob type guy from Vegas. The guy that was in the guy that was in Mulholland Drive and saw the scary, scary person behind Winkies, and that person you would never want to see again outside of your dreams. Yeah, I can remember all that shit, but I can't remember his damn character name. Isn't that funny? Anyway, he's dead, and his assistant's dead. So basically, Doppelkoop is going and cleaning up all these loose ends. And I believe that someone's going to kill Hutch and Chantel as well. Because now they're loose ends. Because I think they've taken care of everybody. Everybody. Oh, and then the funny joke is, she was talking about going and getting French fries when she was done with the killing. Now, this is funny because they wanted to kind of hurry up and kill the warden a few weeks ago so they could go to Wendy's and get something to eat. So they have a not a sweet tooth, but they have a tooth for fast foods. So I think that's kind of funny. Now, here we go, everybody. Here we go. Episode 3 of Twin Peaks is where Cooper was in what's known possibly as the Purple Room or the Zone. And he approaches the light socket and he's sucked through it and comes back to our world, except without his shoes. And I was actually talking to a friend of mine, Xbox Live Mike, and he said without the shoes, that was the indication that when he came out that he was missing something. As in his memories and everything, the way, how to speak, all of that gone. That was the symbolization of his shoes not going with him when he went through the electrical outlet. And I'm very impressed with that because I didn't catch that. So I thought that was really cool and it makes sense. Here we go. Part is so awesome. Janie E gives him a nice slice of chocolate cake, which might be one of the best pieces of chocolate cake, maybe even better than anything Trump has seen. Anyway, it might have been also Sonny Jim's chocolate cake, which is mentioned in a previous episode because Sonny Jim, I believe, had a birthday party. So he's eating the cake with a fork, okay? And there's a TV remote, and he just starts hitting buttons on the TV remote, and he finally, after he hits a few buttons, hits the power button. TV goes on. It's the actual movie, Sunset Boulevard, and a line of dialogue, "Get me Gordon Cole." In the movie Sunset Boulevard, there's a character named Gordon Cole. And that's what David Lynch based his character on in Twin Peaks, that name, because Sunset Boulevard is one of his favorite movies of all time. Now, that seems maybe like meta, but it could very well be that his parents love the movie too or something. They don't need to go into this explanation. I think that's absurd. But that they named him after the character in Sunset Boulevard. His actual name. So when Coop hears this, it's like everything starts coming back to him. It's an awesome look of realization on his face, more than we've ever had. Interesting sound effects are playing in the background. Something has happened. So then Coop goes and he starts looking at the outlet, okay? The actual electrical outlet in his house, the house he lives in with Janie and Sonny Jim. He gets up out of his chair with the same fork he's eating the pie with. He goes over to the electric outlet and he tries to take the prongs of the fork and put them into the outlet. As he gets near the outlet, it's making crazy electrical cracking sounds, similar to what it did in either the Zone or the Purple Room. Again, we don't know exactly what that place is called from episode 3. And he can't do it. So then he goes and turns the fork around to the flat part and he shoves it into the electrical outlet and electrocutes himself. But it doesn't look like a normal electrocution. He's not like shaking and screaming in pain or anything. It's just happening. Flashing lights and like an electrical surge sound. And Janie E sees this and freaks out and runs over towards him, and that they cut from that scene then. So my insane theory is that next week he's back. I think he's going to wake up either in a hospital bed or his own bed with Janie E over him and Sonny Jim, his son, and he's going to wake up as Cooper. Similar to the end of the original Twin Peaks, where Cooper wakes up in his bed at the Great Northern Hotel with, I believe it was, I want to say it was Andy or Deputy Hawk. I know for sure it was Truman standing over him. I think that's the same thing they're doing here. I can't guarantee it. There might be just slightly more, but we are insanely close to having Coop back if we don't have him back. Plus, that ties in with what we've seen. In episode 3, he first entered the Purple Room, and there was the number 3 on the electrical outlet. He went up towards the satellite and came back down, and then the outlet said 15. 3 and 15. As in episode 3, he comes back into our world. In episode 15, he actually becomes Cooper again. Again, connected to the electricity. Episodes 3, episodes 15. Now, what's crazy about that is also the actual room key he had at the Great Northern was 315. So there's not just one piece of information that leads us to this kind of idea. There's 2 at least. So yes, we might have him back possibly. We might have him back. Yes, Darklings. Bada Bing was a strip club in The Sopranos. Yes. Yeah, so it could be we have him back, so we might have him for 3 episodes, not just 2. Because I'm pretty damn sure we'll have him for the last 2. And we might even have him for 3. We'll see. We'll see. Okay, so that's one of the main important moments. Now we come to a sad moment. Margaret Lanterman calls Hawk and says that he needs to look for what's above, I think Blue Pine Ridge, I think is the name of it. This thing that's missing. He needs to look and find it, this thing that he knows about, which I think is what also Doppelkoop's looking for. The black filled in dot with like the antenna on it. It's hard to explain what it looks like. But it could be the same thing. And it's very sad because she actually tells Hawk that she's dying. And that's really sad because Catherine Coulson, the actress, I believe actually did die of cancer. And the character herself has oxygen in every scene. And I think what David Lynch did is shoot one long scene with her and broke it up all throughout the 18 episodes. She's not in all 18, but I think she's in like 5 or 6 with a little scene here and there. And she actually goes and she basically says goodbye to Hawk. And Hawk walks in and tells the new Truman and Andy and Lucy that she's actually dead. She has passed away. Then we cut to her cabin in the woods, and the light goes off in her cabin, which I thought was a really interesting way to say goodbye to the character and say goodbye to the actress who passed away during the shooting, or right after the shooting of the series. So yeah, that was an emotional moment. That was really powerful. Catherine Coulson was one of David Lynch's best friends. She knows him all the way back to Eraserhead. Possibly before that. Every movie leading up to 8. Well, I am planning another talk show. I don't know what show it's going to be yet. If anyone has any ideas, I'm entertaining ideas from people. Okay. Then we get another bizarre, insane scene with Charlie and Audrey Horne. And each scene with them feels weird and bizarre, and Charlie always finds some reason for them not to leave their home. Which to me lends credence to the idea that she's in a coma and has only heard about Billy from people in the hospital. That she's put together an entire world with her and Charlie could be her therapist in the hospital or someone, a doctor that's talking to her while she's unconscious. It's very weird in literature or movie or anything to constantly have one character put the kibosh on something. And in all 3 episodes, it was about Audrey leaving to look for Billy. And in all 3 scenes, it's been Charlie that said no. And basically, and here he actually goes so far as to take his coat off and sit down on the sofa. Okay. Then Audrey loses it. Fucking jumps on top of Charlie, who's on the sofa, pushes him down, and strangles him. Now, we don't know if he's actually dead or if he's not real. This might be the thing that wakes her up out of the coma. I don't know. I mean, it's possible she isn't in a coma, but it's very weird that the 3 or 4 scenes we've had are just her and Charlie, her wanting to get out of her house, and it never happening. It's very weird. It's a red flag. It's definitely a red flag. Okay. And then the final scene was very bizarre. Charlene Yi, who is a actress, I think possibly a comedian too, she's sitting in the Roadhouse, minding her own business, and then all of a sudden these 2 biker guys come, and they're like, you're sitting here? And they basically pick her up as she's still like sitting. She's still in a seated position. They pick her up and put her on the ground. And then she crawls on the Roadhouse floor and then starts screaming. So I don't know if she had a wheelchair there that someone moved. It's possible. And we do know that Linda, of Richard and Linda, who've been mentioned. We haven't met Linda yet or seen her yet, but she has been mentioned already. Supposedly she was waiting to get a wheelchair from the Veterans Association. Now, it's possible that Charlene Yi's character, Ruby, I believe Ruby's her name if I read the credits correctly, that she also needed a wheelchair, and maybe she's someone that Linda met. Otherwise, I have no idea who she is or what was going on. I don't know. I mean, it definitely feels like she needed a wheelchair. Otherwise, I can't understand why she would have been just crawling on the floor. And unlike other people acting bizarre at the Roadhouse because they look like they're on drugs, she looked completely sober. So it's not the same thing. Okay. Does anyone have any questions on David Lynch or Twin Peaks? Is there anything that I missed that you can think of? Anyone who saw it? Or does anyone have any suggestions for any other talk show I should do? Ooh, Dark Links, what cliffhanger? What cliffhanger hasn't been solved? Which one? I'm amazed to actually see what it meant to be above the convenience store. I was not expecting David to show us that. I was not expecting to have Judy mentioned again and have her actually possibly be important. I've honestly been very impressed with this series. It kind of feels though like a movie, but in 18 hours. An 18-hour movie. I do want to thank everyone for watching. Thank you. Never told us about Leo's fate. Oh, you're right. Leo Johnson from the original series. I'm guessing the spider killed him. I mean, that's very possible. Maybe Shelley will eventually say something in the next 3 hours of episodes. You know, a quick mention. I'll be 1 second. I want to see if we have any notifications to mention here. 1 second. Again, I thank you all for your patience, and I thank you very much for watching. Again, I've loved Twin Peaks since the origin of it. In fact, I'll explain that to you right now. I was really young when Twin Peaks started, okay? I was born in 1976, and Twin Peaks was, I believe, 89 and 90 or 90 and 91. So, 76, 86. At like 12 or 13, I wasn't initially watching Twin Peaks. It was on for a little bit before I caught it. I caught the episode in season 2. You're going to laugh. This is the first episode I saw. I caught the episode in season 2 where we find out who killed Laura Palmer. I shit you not. That's the first episode I saw. And from there, I watched the movie Blue Velvet by David Lynch. And I watched all the episodes from that point forward. But there was a nightmare because they like took it off the air and then brought it back again and changed the day, I believe, to a different night. To Saturday nights, I think they brought it to, which is kind of like a dead place to put a TV show. And it was just really weird how they handled the final few episodes of Twin Peaks. So I didn't understand much. That was episode 14 or 15 of season 2. No, that would have been episode 14 or 15 total, I guess. Something like that. But yeah, I loved it. I thought it was awesome. So then I went, and they had the Twin Peaks episodes, only 1 through 7, the first season on videotape. You had to buy each tape. They were like $15. So I eventually found all 7 tapes. And it was more expensive than I'd like to say because that's how much videotapes were back then. It was nuts. And just 1 episode per tape. Then, like 2 or 3 years later, maybe longer, they released an entire collection of all the episodes on cassette tape, video cassette, not audio, video cassette tape. And it was expensive, but we did a rummage sale, my family did, and the money I made, I went and bought that Twin Peaks box set. Okay, all the episodes were in EP, which is, you know, a way to say really shitty quality of videotape. So it felt like the tapes could break after watching them 2 or 3 times. I kid you not. But it was important for me to see the entire series and know the entire story. I was contemplating American Horror Story Cult. I was contemplating that. I have a few different ideas for talk shows that I could do. But yeah, that's basically how it went with me and Twin Peaks. I unfortunately was too young and to really understand what it was right at the beginning when the pilot first aired or anything. It was all the way back, and then I had to go all the way at towards close to the end, actually, and then I had to go backwards and watch the episodes, and it took me 2 or 3 years to have finally seen everything and be like, oh my god, okay. Like, people would bring up things like the Giant and all these insane things that I didn't even know what they were. It was so weird when I first got into the show. It was a hard starting point, but it was so unique and so different, and there was just something nearly almost magical about it that it got me very interested, and it made me really want to check it out and figure out what the hell is going on. I'll have another Twin Peaks story about my youth in Twin Peaks next week, actually. I'll leave you wanting more there. I gotta figure out how I'm gonna actually say that one. But it's a kind of a funny story and lets you know just how much I like David Lynch and Twin Peaks. Do you have any questions at all on David Lynch or Twin Peaks at all? Any questions? Otherwise, I think I'm going to bring this to an end. But I want to thank you all for watching. You've been awesome. And yeah, we only have now 2 more weeks of episodes, but it's 3 hours of episodes. So next week is episode 16. And then the week after is episode 17 and 18. And then as far as we know, Twin Peaks is done until the Twin Peaks dossier comes out. The last dossier or final dossier in October. As far as we know, then that's the capper for the series. And all the hardcore fans will probably get that because I'm guessing the smaller storylines will be ended with that. There's certain things they just don't have enough time for in 18 hours. I don't know how David said he was going to do this in 9 hours because they initially said, you know, it was 9 episodes, but there are some episodes that are scenes that seem a little long, you know, but David likes long scenes. He has in all his movies. But it's not to the point where I think 18 episodes becomes 9. I think it's more like 18 episodes becomes 12 or 14. So I don't know how the hell they would have pulled this off in only 9 episodes. I think it might have gone a little too fast at that point. Yeah, it would have been weird. It would have been really weird to see it that way. Yeah, I want to thank you all for watching. Thank you so much. Maniac Phantom, Darklings 2 Zeldas, everyone else, thank you so much. Yes, next week again, 10:30 p.m. Central. It will be for episode 16. We'll have a talk show. And then, once the show is over, 10:30 p.m. Central in 2 weeks, we'll be talking about the finale and probably everything involving Twin Peaks. My guess is that will be the longest of the talk shows. I'm guessing over an hour. Right now we're at 51 minutes, so I'm guessing, yeah, it'll be pretty long. I'm looking forward to it. Yeah, it should be a lot of fun. It should be awesome. But yeah, thank you all very much, and I hope you guys have yourself a good night. Let me go to close-up camera. Close-up camera! And I'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.